Welcome, welcome, welcome to Home Loans Network podcast. I am Ebonie Beaco, your mortgage loan officer and mortgage strategist. This podcast is for buyers who wants facts over fear, strategy over guesswork, and education before obligation. So, if you're thinking about buying a home and you want to avoid mistakes, delays, or expensive surprises, just stay right here because I will be breaking down 15 first-time home buyer questions most people don't think to ask until it's too late. So let's get into it. But before I do, note that this is episode 3 of 3 for first-time home buyers questions. So make sure you review the other 2. Question number 1 that I was asked: what is earnest money and how do I get it back? Well, earnest money is the deposit that you submit with your offer to show the sellers you're serious. It's typically applied towards your purchase at a closing. Now, you usually get it back if you cancel the contract for a valid reason outlined in your contingencies, like inspections, appraisal problems, or loan denials. You only risk losing it if you walk away outside of those protections. Why does my mortgage payment change after closing? Your loan payment itself doesn't change, but the taxes and insurance can. After you buy, the county may reassess the property at the new purchase price, which can raise taxes. Insurance premiums can also increase. When those change, your escrow payments adjust, and that changes your total monthly payment. What is PMI, and how do I get rid of it? Well, PMI, or private mortgage insurance, is required on most conventional loans. So when you put less than 20% down, it protects the lender, not you. But the good news is PMI is not permanent. Once you reach enough equity, either through payments, appreciation, or refinancing, it can often be removed. And so basically, once you get down to 79% loan to value, your PMI will be automatically removed. Why is my homeowner's insurance higher than I expected? Well, insurance isn't based on what you paid for the house. It's based on the cost to rebuild it. Location, weather risk, prior claims, roof age, and replacement costs all are factors. That is why insurance estimates can vary widely and sometimes surprise first-time home buyers. What is escrow, and why does the lender control it? Well, escrow is an account that your lender uses to collect property taxes and homeowner insurance monthly. So instead of paying large bills once or twice a year, you pay a portion each and every single month. This protects both you and the lender by ensuring those critical expenses are always paid on time. Do HOAs really have power over my home? Yes, but within limits. HOAs can enforce rules. They can collect fees and issue fines based on their governing documents. They don't own your home, but they do, however, control the building that you live in. They control things like the exterior, rentals, and shared spaces. So, and when I say they control rentals, meaning the rental occupancy, a building that you decide to purchase a condo in may only say only 20% rentals are allowed, and the other 80% of the units has to be owner occupied. So they can control how many renters are in the building. They can also control, depending on how the association is set up, what type of renters you have, not based on race, but based on credit, based upon their assets. They can actually review your rentals documentation to see if this person should move in the building. So always reviews HOA rules before you even buy, because surprises can be costly. How much should I budget for maintenance? Well, a general guideline is about 1% of the home's value per year. This covers things like appliances, plumbing, HVAC servicing, and normal wear and tear. Homes don't wait to break things when it's convenient. Budgeting ahead prevents the stress. So make sure that you have a reserve when it comes to wear and tear of your home and overall maintenance. Will my property taxes increase after I buy? In many cases, absolutely. If the previous owner had an exemption or had not been reassessed in years, unfortunately, your purchase price can trigger a tax increase. This is one of the most common surprises for first-time home buyers, and one reason escrow payments adjust. Can I rent out a room to help with the mortgage? Absolutely, because this doesn't apply. Now, if this was Airbnb, that's a different story. Your loan program, HOA, and local laws is what matters. So some areas requires permits or limit rentals. It's a great strategy. Just make sure it's allowed before you plan on that income. So if you're looking to do an Airbnb, that is a different situation, especially if it's going to be in a condo building, because that can be permitted. Now, what if the seller refuses to fix anything after the inspection? Well, an inspection gives you information and leverage, not guarantees. If the seller won't make any repairs, you may be able to negotiate credits. You may be able to even renegotiate the price or walk away if your contract allows it. You're never required to accept a home with issues, especially if you're not comfortable with it. How expensive is moving? Well, that depends upon you, the buyer, and what you expect. It's going to be between the movers, how many movers you have, the deposit that you may or may not put down, any utility setup or breakdown, the furniture that's being moved out, the basic supplies, meaning any type of plastic wrap, boxes, things of that nature. Moving costs can add up quickly, so planning for these expenses avoids draining your savings right after closing. What does contingent actually mean? Well, contingent means the sale depends on certain conditions being met. Common contingencies include financing approval, appraisal, and inspections. Until those are cleared, either party may still have existing options, and those existing options usually are the contingencies. Otherwise, if those contingencies are not met, you can possibly cancel the contract and then get your earnest money back. Why are my utility bills higher than when I rented? Well, when you own, you're actually paying for the full structure, not just your unit. So larger square footage, different installation, older systems, and seasonal usage all affect the cost. This is normal and part of the shift from renting to owning. When do I actually get my keys? Well, in most cases, you get the keys the day of close. However, some contracts allows the seller to stay temporarily after closing. Always confirm possession terms so they will be expected and they know what to do and you know what to do. Understand your expectations in the contract needs to be written out very clear so there is absolutely no confusion at the closing table. What's the biggest mistake first-time home buyers make? Well, waiting to ask questions until they're already under contract, such as the condo association. What are their rules, regulations, and guidelines? What is prohibited? What is permitted? Education before writing an offer gives you leverage, confidence, and options. So once you're under contract, timelines are tight and mistakes can become more expensive. It's really important to ask questions. If you want real answers without the pressure, confusion, or sales talk, come hang out with me every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for Wind Down Wednesdays, live on YouTube and on TikTok. So on YouTube, it's at the Real Estate Deal Room, and on TikTok, it is Home Loans Network, and that will be in the description of this podcast. That is where I answer real questions live, bring things down simply, and just make home ownership make sense. So make sure you subscribe to the Real Estate Deal Room, turn on those notifications, and I will see you Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.